Raw. Next question.
Raw. Next question. Fuck. Oh my god, it's so hot.
Violet doesn't get a full dragon. She just gets like a little chameleon.
Yeah. My brains are ticking. I'm like that meme with all, with the like maths.
A literal shadow daddy.
Holy fuck. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I'm Cheska.
And I'm Tammy.
And this is Don't Tell the Boys, a podcast for two long-distance besties who read sexy, sexy books and talk about them together.
We're reading fantasy, we're reading romance, and we're finding a book of boyfriends. And crucially, we are not telling our boys about it.
Boys are welcome.
Yeah, just not ours.
I'm really enjoying this book now. I was trying so hard not to read ahead.
Yeah, I basically had to put a pause. I was reading a chapter a day, and then I got really into it, and I read up until like 1:30 in the morning, and I was like, I need to go to bed because we're getting up early tomorrow. And then I couldn't sleep because all I can think about was this bloody book. And the tension and everything else was just, honestly, physically reacting in this bedroom by myself. I was like, oh my god. I could not put it down.
Yeah, because you sent me your discussion points before this. And it was just, honestly, just pure thirst. I was like, there's going to be some conspiracies, there's going to be da-da-da. And she was just like, Xaden is fit 5 different ways.
Honestly, like, I've been trying to annotate as I go along in terms of, like, my initial thoughts and reactions. I really try to keep, like, onto the themes and all that stuff, but I can't. I have to, like, react into my notes so that I can remember how I felt whilst reading those sections.
Can we just do 2 of these a week? Like,
yeah.
I don't know if I could do 2 a week, but I know I'm going to get to the end of the next 5 and I'm going to be like, Tammy, do you want to film tomorrow so I can carry on?
Yeah. I had to get another book because otherwise I'm going to explode.
I nearly bought Lights Out, and I was like, no, I have to save that one in case we do it. If anyone listening does want us to react to that book, let us know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I might just read it on my own at this rate. Shall we jump into it then?
I'll be honest. Have you got a summary for this?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
I'll do the run through. Mm-hmm. Chapter 6. So when we left off at the end of the last episode, Violet had just had her arm broken by a separatist kid who took issue with her on the sparring mat. When we come back to it, Dain takes Violet to the healer's quadrant, but doesn't want them to heal her, and instead begs her to sneak out.
It's stressing me out how everyone is like, so, I don't even have the
wrapping her in cotton wool.
Yeah, like she's made of glass. What I'm really liking about her as a female character is that she's proving everybody wrong. Because she clearly has like grown up at Bascaeff and she knows everybody. Everybody knows that she is, or looks at her like she's frail. And I love that she's like proving them wrong because she wants to be there. She's making the choice to be there. But it's still really stressing me out how everyone around her, apart from Xaden himself, seems to be coddling her. It's I don't know. I know I started the book as a fan of Dain, but he's starting to... It's giving Tamlin.
Literally one of the discussion points that I put later on, I literally wrote, Dain is the new Tamlin. That's so funny. Oh, also, I don't know why I thought I could attribute her disease to an actual human disease. I totally forgot that her hair loses its colour. So I'm sorry, audience, listeners. That was idiotic. She refuses to leave. She gets the treatment. And she returns to find that her sister Mira has smuggled in her dead brother Brennan's journal to help her survival chances. the journal was interesting for me because it added a bit more timeline information. And again, I have to apologize to anyone who is listening and was like, you were told this in chapter 1, but I've already forgotten chapter 1. It was very overwhelming. Yeah. So Brennan died 5 years ago, which was when the rebellion ended, more or less, right before, perhaps. Mira must have gone in about at least a year before Brennan died, because he gave her the journal. Yeah. Xaden must only have gone in 3 years ago because he's the third year right now. Mm-hmm. So actually, they're not just putting all the separatist kids straight in one go. They're putting them in when they're of age.
Yeah. God. Chapter 1 was so long and so overwhelming that the idea of having to reread that is making me nervous. I'm going to have to reread chapter 1, aren't I?
Yeah, I think I am too.
Yeah, we're going to have to.
Yeah, so this journal tells Violet how to figure out who she's going to be set against in her sparring matches. It tells her how to find out who she'll be fighting so that she has a chance to prepare. And I did also have a note here just to say the whole nepotism thing now is no longer bothering me because literally everyone is cheating, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with it now. She can cheat to her heart's content, or she can get every advantage possible.
I fully agree with that as well. It's really giving Hunger Games at this point. Everyone just wants to survive, no matter what.
Chapter 7's next. The chapter starts with Violet picking poison berries to sabotage her sparring opponent, when she basically sees all the separatist kids gathering under the cover of darkness. And basically, it's illegal for the separatist kids to gather in groups of 3 or more. They are helping each other to survive. You had a note here about Xaden's character.
I think this is the first time that we see him as the nice guy or as a good guy. And I actually really like the way that it was done. The fact that he cares is already a big green flag. And I'm waving that green flag around. I am number 1 team Xaden right now. And I just think it's really sweet how obviously it's forbidden. Obviously they shouldn't be, but they are. And all he's doing is helping. And I'm actually quite glad that Violet hasn't said anything to anybody yet.
Xaden obviously feels a massive responsibility towards the kids of this rebellion.
Yeah.
And I suspect there's probably a lot of that due to his family ties. Not only does he feel responsible for these kids because his own father led all of their parents in a rebellion that landed them all here in the first place, but also in their eyes, he probably now represents that movement to them.
That's so interesting. That's so interesting that you've just said that, especially because of... Put a pin on that thought.
We'll get to the rest of that thought in a bit, but he is in there to survive. He was thrown in just like everybody else, but he's trying to get all these kids through this. Yeah. And that's a massive responsibility, especially when you know that some of them are going to die. He also says something really cryptic about battle brief. I don't know if you caught that. He basically said, don't forget what you know, but recite what you hear. And I think it comes back to my prediction about exploring the idea that we're not the good guys. Mm-hmm. He's basically saying, you know what's going on, but don't say anything. Just learn how to say what they want to hear. And I think that's meant to be kind of snuck in there.
Yeah, I highlighted that, and it definitely, at first I was a little bit confused. It was definitely a section that I reread it a couple of times because I was like, does he mean what I think he means? It definitely felt like a nicer and well-written version of don't say anything you shouldn't and just keep your head down. My brains are ticking. I'm like that meme with all, with the maths. The maths
stream. There are a lot of times throughout this 5 chapters where the math is not mathing. And
yeah.
I think it's good that we're picking up on it though, because we know things aren't making sense.
Yeah.
So the separatist kids all leave after their meeting, and Violet waits until she's sure she's alone, but Xaden catches her anyway. It turns out that he is a shadow wielder, which means that he commands shadows. So her hiding in the shadows does fuck all, basically. He knows she's there.
Shadow daddy.
A literal shadow daddy. How would you beat a power like that?
Anything light related.
Yeah.
Like
You've got to
fire.
blind him, right?
Yeah. I think fire. Oh,
She's got to hide in the light next time. How does that work?
yeah. Unless her dragon was an actual, like, if she ends up getting a dragon, it's actually a lizard, and the lizard can camouflage. I really don't know how that would work. Like,
Love it. Violet doesn't get a full dragon. She just gets like a little chameleon.
yeah. I got really excited about his power. I feel like for his character, it makes so much sense from like what we know so far, and like, yeah.
He lets her live in exchange for her promised silence and gives her advice, and says he owes her a favor. And now he also did something really weird in this. He behaves really weirdly when he sees her braid. I can't remember exactly what she says, but she basically says that she could have sworn that his breath stuttered when her braid appeared out from under her cloak. And yes, it could just be that he finds her incredibly attractive. Also, her hair loses its color. It felt... I don't want to speak for men here. I'm sure a lot of men find hair very attractive. But I don't know if, like, a man would ever have looked at a girl's plait in her hair and been like, yeah, raw, next question.
Raw, next question. Fuck. Oh, that's so funny. Right. I think it's not necessarily the braid aspect that, like, made him raw.
Was I overthinking it?
So, I've got a theory about her hair.
Is it one of your predictions?
Yeah, right. Let me.
Oh.
I'll hold on to it. I'll just hold on until the end.
Oh, right. I really want to hear it. Well, wait. He basically just gives her some advice, tells her to stop ignoring Jack and threaten him. And then he leaves, basically. Chapter 8 starts with the cadets are basically receiving a lesson on different types of dragons. And they're told that Scale basically just doesn't follow the rules of dragonhood, I guess. She's absolutely lethal. She just does whatever the fuck she wants. And she chose to bond to a relative of her previous rider, despite the fact that that's supposedly against the rules. Are we supposed to believe that that is Xaden's dad? Does Xaden have his dad's dragon?
Ooh. I don't know. I didn't think dad, but I definitely thought like a family member, because we know that his cousin is also at the school.
So I guess we'll find out, but quite a cool piece of information. And also, Jack wants the black dragon. The
Of course.
but so I had this down as one of my predictions, but I have to say it. I can't wait.
Go on.
That's Violet's fucking dragon.
I thought that. And
yeah.
I think, I've got another prediction about her. And
I know. I wrote down, Jack wants the black dragon. That dragon is definitely Violet's dragon. Mm-hmm. It's described as the smartest. That's Violet's whole thing. She's the smartest. It's the rarest. The only other black dragon currently bonded belongs to General Melgren, the head of the whole military. Like, this is a special dragon. Its previous rider was a siphon who basically can draw power from around itself, from other people, and just like put it to different use. And this siphon died trying to save her brother Brennan. The siphon in question was called Nailin on something. Nailin, maybe?
Yeah.
He depleted himself trying to save Violet's brother and died. The reason given for that is either fear of Brennan's mother or a desire for her favor. Mm-hmm. Did that sound likely to you? Because I didn't buy that.
I didn't buy it at all. Wouldn't be surprised if they were lovers.
Right, but so this is where I got confused because we know that Rhiannon and Tara are already in a same-sex relationship, and
Yeah.
I have not got any sense at the moment that there's any particular homophobia in this military.
Yeah.
But that being said, it just seemed no one has ever managed to revive someone from death with their powers. So, like, this person knew it wasn't possible, and still they couldn't live if Brennan was not alive. And so, to me, that says everything. But why lie about it?
I think it's more of the general wouldn't be happy. I don't think it's necessarily like she's homophobic or she would care, but I think Mira says don't make any friends, make alliances. And I wouldn't be surprised if that is something that the general told Brennan. And then if the general found out that he was boinking with another guy, she's not going to be happy, is she? Yeah.
So you think it's just that the relationship was a secret?
Yeah, it seems like Violet, her sister and her brother, had a fear of, or have a fear of, like, disappointing their mum in some way. And I feel like that could put it, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, Brennan fell in love. And I agree with you. There is no way that man didn't know that he was killing himself. And to add to your theory, I think the dragon will know who Violet is.
So after the lesson, they head to sparring. Violet's first sparring match since her arm was broken. She takes Xaden's advice and threatens Jack with throwing knives. It works well. She then wins sparring 5 weeks in a row due to strategic poisoning of her opponents in advance. In the 6th week, she poisons her opponent too early. They are off sick, and Xaden volunteers to step in.
Holy fuck. Oh my god. Oh my god. The way that I was screaming. Sorry, go on.
That was it. Like, I pretty much had the same reaction as you. I was like, you know that gif of Nick from New Girl?
Yeah.
I was shitting myself on her behalf. I was like, oh my god, this is going to be so humiliating.
Yeah. I think this is the note where it was like, he's going to kill her, but he can't kill her because there's 2 other books after this, so what's going to happen?
Yeah, see, in my brain, I've already gone, Zane's not going to kill Violet. Like, he's already made the decision that he's not going to. But I just think he really enjoys threatening her. Like, they've got hate sex vibes.
Yeah, the chemistry is unreal. And
yeah,
we'll get to it. We'll get to that, but good God. I also feel like Violet doesn't give herself enough credit, especially with the whole poisoning thing. We already know that she's fast. We know that she's not great at combat, but we know she's fast, which means technically, if she had been training with Rhiannon, and I forgot what the other guy was called,
Riddock, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll go with Riddock. They've obviously been training, so she should be all right.
Fucking amazing with throwing knives.
Yeah.
And what? She did that in what, 6 months? That's insane.
She is not giving herself enough grace to actually at least try. Like, give it a go.
Yeah, she's almost relying too much on her intelligence and not broadening her skill set at this point. But I mean, I guess the stakes for her are higher because she thinks that she will get murdered every time she does step onto the mat. So, chapter 9, right after that cliffhanger, Xaden uses the opportunity to spar with Violet to instead hardcore hit on her. And give her a very sneaky fighting lesson at the same time with extremely unsneaky body contact.
I'm flustered just thinking about that scene again.
They were dry humping on the mat.
Oh, God, yeah. And I was having such a good time thinking about, like, imagining his position. And, like, he's tall. And clearly very muscular. I was like, this man is a giant, okay? And she's this, like, frail little thing. And I was having
He's just throwing her all over the place, basically.
I was like, oh my God. I'm blushing. Oh my God.
You really are.
I don't know. I thought this, I think the only time I've ever felt this giddy about, like, not necessarily forbidden love, because obviously they're allowed to get together if they want to, was when I was reading Vampire Academy. I think I was like 16, 17 when the books came out. And it was an instructor and a student sort of vibe. And
taboo.
It was very it's been years where I've been reading a book and genuinely felt giddy. Yeah, I had a great time reading that chapter. I thought it was great.
He did royally humiliate her though throughout, although he called her tiny like it was an insult, but we both know he was fucking loving it. To me, there was a lot of reasons that he did all that. There was the reasons he was telling himself and the reasons he was telling everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he was trying to get some physical contact with her, but he was probably trying to tell himself that he wanted to intimidate her.
Yeah.
It was a massive power play over Dain, who was watching the whole thing, and there was a claim being staked there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was playing to an audience, and maybe not even just Dain as well. Like, we kind of getting the impression that Imogen, kind of one of the other separatist kids, who was the one that broke Violet's arm, has a bit of a thing for Xaden. So maybe there was a bit of like a friend zoning situation going on there. Like, I think that Xaden and Imogen have fucked 100%. They've been fucking, but he is not attached. That's what I think. I think like Xaden's been sleeping around before Violet got there for sure, and I think that Imogen's got hero worship of him and like it's probably caught feelings, but I don't think that Xaden's actually interested.
Why have I just had like PTSD from like uni? It just flashes on. I've just had like memories come back.
I'm so sorry.
It's fine. I completely agree with you. There's definitely like the thing is, obviously we don't know. I really wish we had Xaden's POV.
I know. I really want Xaden's POV. I didn't write a note down, but I keep thinking it. I really want Xaden's POV. Do you think we're going to get one? Because we've had 10 chapters now. Nothing.
Yeah, I don't think so. Unless she makes a switch like mid-book, but I kind of hope she doesn't, because so far I'm really enjoying it. But I would love to get a POV.
I need Xaden's POV.
Yeah.
I also meant to say, he also has a new nickname for Violet, which is Violence, and I fucking love it. Like, I'm really hit and miss with these nicknames. Violence is amazing.
Honestly, the first time he called her Violence, I was like, gasp. Like, audibly gasp.
If my name was Violet and I had hate fuck vibes with a guy who then started calling me Violence, I'd be so turned on.
I'd fall in love. Liking the episode? Let us know how we're doing in the comments below. But please, no spoilers. And don't forget, you can find us at don'ttell_theboys on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and YouTube. We're all over the place. Make sure to follow us to stay updated with your new book besties.
I'm still on this sparring match. Somehow my notes for this go on for ages. To be fair, it's most of the chapter. He also tells her to aim for fatal places that she would never have touched. Like, she admits she would never have gone for those places in the first place, but he's telling her to. And I think it's because he knows. And this is why I think they have this connection, because we've already seen that Xaden feels a lot of responsibility to try and keep other people around him alive. And when he first sees that she swapped shoes with somebody, the very first time he sees her, he says, interesting. And I think that he is becoming attached to her because he sees the same qualities in her. Like, she's never going for a fatal move. She poisons people, but she never kills them. She just does it for survival purposes, and she clearly cares.
Yeah.
She doesn't want anyone to die, even though people want to kill her all the time. Yeah. I think he identifies with her, and he sees her for who she is really clearly.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So after sparring, Dain gives Violet a massage. quite intimate massage, actually, in his room where she's not supposed to be. And he confesses that he thinks that Xaden is loyal because dragons would never bond with anyone who didn't want to protect the area that they live in. But this doesn't make any sense to me either, because the rebellion presumably was dragon against dragon. It must have been. Like, there's no way the rebellion could have done as well as it did. They were very close to losing the rebellion. So the dragon riders must have been rebelling, some of them.
Oh, yeah.
So I in this, I mean, we talk, I'm bringing this forward. We do talk later on about how fewer and fewer dragons are coming to threshing each year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is it that the dragons themselves are kind of losing faith in the society that they're working with here?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not saying I disagree with Dain per se, but I just think that logic sucks.
Yeah, and I feel like, especially for using Xaden as a example, because we know that his dragon is a little bit of a what's the word? Rebel
A maverick.
Like, yeah, like we can't really. Not necessarily. I don't think we can't trust her. It's interesting though, because I do. Like I hadn't thought about who they were actually like. Who was actually rebelling, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, go on. I've got thoughts on Dain about this section.
Yeah. So he tries to convince Violet to leave again. He explains that threshing is basically the Hunger Games for dragon riders. That's what I wrote. During threshing, you have to try and approach a dragon and have it bond with you. But not only are you competing with other dragon riders for this, but they also basically use it as an opportunity to wipe out anyone that they've had a grudge with throughout the year, killing each other, slitting each other's throats, probably getting killed by dragons. It's just a shit show, and nobody's allowed to weigh in. He basically begs her to leave again. They fight, and she agrees to think about it. And this is the note where I put Dain is the new Tamlin.
Yeah, I think my note on this is a selfish bastard. And yeah, it is definitely 100%, 1,000% giving Tamlin vibes.
She calls him her best friend in this chapter as well, I think. In this moment, for me, that was like, she's friend-zoned him now.
Yeah. I think, well, and this is why I went from I really like Dain to I really don't like him. It seems so far you are the only one that doesn't see her potential. And as somebody who has grown up with Violet, who has seen her through everything, has seen her like literally overcome every single injury that she's ever had so far, you've got no like faith in her whatsoever. Like I feel like he really doesn't believe that she can do this.
I have very mixed feelings on this because I have a lot of sympathy for Dain, actually. I feel like his perspective is very understandable. In his eyes, a lot of people with a lot of potential still die. And to him, it's not worth the risk. Like, she's too precious to him to risk it. Yeah, I do agree that Xaden is really treating her more like she has a chance. But I also think, at least at this point, Xaden cares about her less. Like, Dain is clearly completely in love with her. So I have to have that in my mind. I do think that he isn't helping because when he's just slowly stripping her of her self-belief, he's reducing her chances of survival. I think he thought that she'd be tucked away in the scribes and like eventually she'd be lovely little wifey. Chapter 10, final chapter. So in this chapter, they face the gauntlet, which is a ninja warrior style obstacle course. But I have to be honest, I was imagining like the stick figure equivalent. Like my mental image of it was running at like 30%.
That's so interesting. I could fully like picture a mountain sort of vibe with random mechanical things happening and rope just dangling off for them to swing off whilst they're training. But I did think that the describing was a little bit long, but it made sense as to why.
it does make sense as to why, because obviously this obstacle course is going to be very relevant in the future as well. So there's obviously a reason that we're having such a clear picture painted of it right now.
Yeah.
Tynan, who is a new character, I think, and a member of Violet's squad, accuses her of sleeping with Dain for basically an advantage, and reveals that Jack has been spreading rumours like this and building a following against her. So we were kind of on the money with that last episode.
Yeah.
Riddoch defends her, and then they basically start doing the obstacle course, the gauntlet. They will have to complete this to reach presentation, which I think is when they meet the dragons at Threshing, from what I can gather. So when the time comes, they will either complete it or they will die. There's no other way around it. So this is their practice time. Violet does so well. She reaches the 4th level of 5 on her first try. And unfortunately, Aurelie, who has been guiding her through some of it, falls and dies. Aurelie, who's been training her whole life for it, who's pretty much a new character at this point. She got mentioned like one other time. Seems lovely, dies. So
R.I.P. I think this was a monumental death.
So I agree. I haven't described it very well. In reading, it was super tense.
It just goes to show that just because you've trained your entire life, that doesn't mean you'll make it. And that, for me, was like a life lesson itself.
Yeah, it hits Violet hard.
Yeah.
Violet offers to take Aurelie's belongings for the kind of ceremonial burning. On returning, she again meets Xaden and 2 of the other separatist kids, one of whom is his cousin Bodhi, returning from apparently meeting with dragons after curfew. I kind of wondered what you thought had gone on there, because I have my own theories.
I thought it was strange. I don't really have a theory. I think obviously they were doing something that they're not supposed to. And it could be important.
Well, my theories were, so I thought it was probably one or two things. Either Xaden's trying to familiarise them with dragons pre-threshings to increase their chances of getting chosen and helping them bond. But then the other thing I also thought is, I don't know if this rebellion is as over as we think it is. I kind of wondered if they were maybe receiving information from the outside world.
Ooh. Yeah, really. Again, that went through way over my head.
I might not be right. It was just speculation, but it just felt like they were doing something.
Definitely.
Everything about Xaden is spelling out spy to me right now. Everything from like his power to the fact that he's bonded with a notoriously cunning dragon who doesn't follow the rules.
It's giving Azrael from Akata.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
He's everywhere. He is the spy. Like, he's looking really sus. Oh my god, it's so hot. I've got
new kink unlocked for Tammy. Wait, maybe an old kink? So Xaden catches Violet listening in again, flirts with her again, basically admits that he overheard her and Dain when Dain asked her to leave and she said she'd think about it, and gives her advice on beating the gauntlet. I have to point out here, he was listening in when Dain was giving her a massage.
Yeah, big fat yes.
He's choosing to spy on Violet in his own time, like borderline stalking, I think, at this point, and he's not even trying to hide it. Like, he was 100% in that room with them.
Yeah.
I think he was just trying to see if they were banging.
Oh, I don't know. I think he's definitely trying to collect, like, information on her.
You're probably right.
Yeah. Okay, so this is like the big quote. I'm going to read out to you. So, do you want to know why you're still alive? Because you're the scale I currently judge myself against every night. Every day I let you live, I get to convince myself that there's still a part of me that's a decent person. So if you want to quit, then please spare me the temptation and fucking quit. Is he that like he's looking up to her because he thinks that she's a decent person, that she's a caring person, and that's why he's not killed her yet? And like his way of protecting her is the fact that he's not killed her yet. But technically, he should have if he thinks she was caring.
See, you thought about this in a way that I never even thought about, but you could be totally right. So obviously, I read it like, I want to kill you, but because I choose to let you live every day, I'm able to feel like I'm still maybe a better person than I thought. And that was what he was saying. Whereas actually, what you're possibly saying is, since she arrived, he's able to see a way to be a better person again because of the example that she's setting. And I didn't even think about it like that, but it could have 100% been that. Also, I loved when she was like, I just need to know if I have a chance here. And he was like, that's the strangest way I've ever been hit on. Yeah. And she was like, fuck off. But I think 100% that he was just going for it then. Honestly, he was shooting his shot, and she just didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
There was no underlying intimidation. There was no possible "I'm going to kill you" energy.
Yeah, it was just flirty. I love it. I think this is why I'm so obsessed with this bit of this.
You love the will they, won't they?
Yeah. I think it's great. And
me too.
Yeah. You know how we were talking about predictions and her power? The only thing that comes...
Yeah. Do you want to get to predictions now? Because I'm there. I'm ready.
Yeah. Prediction number 1. I know that we said that potentially the black dragon is Violet. The moment she bonds with a dragon, her hair either goes fully silver or fully... I am thinking of Frozen. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say that the dragon turns half silver.
Oh no, I mean her hair pulls the power from her dragon, or she heals herself. I don't know. But I think something dramatic will happen when she does bond, if she bonds with the dragon.
Let's alternate. So this is my first prediction. I'm going back on my prediction of how Jack's going to die in the last episode. I've already changed my mind.
Yeah.
I now think that Violet will kill Jack during threshing when they fight over the black dragon. I think she's going to approach the black dragon. Jack is going to attempt to murder her because that's the dragon that he wants. Mm-hmm. And she will outsmart him. It'll be her first kill. And in doing so, the black dragon will choose to bond with her because of the demonstration of intellect. I'm trying to choose whether I think her powers are going to be healing or mending, as it's called, or siphoning. At the moment, I'm leaning more towards siphoning because I think that makes up for her physical disadvantage more.
Yeah.
But obviously, healing for her would be great because then she can heal herself in battle, which is a huge way to counteract for that physical disadvantage as well. So at the moment, I'm going with siphoning.
I agree with you. I think in terms of her signet powers, I think that Jack is going to get eaten by the dragon or burnt alive or killed by the dragon. And I feel like Violet will bond without realizing, or not necessarily without realizing, but I think something is going to happen that's going to trigger the bond. And I think Jack is going to try to use the opportunity where everybody's killing each other to try and kill Violet anyway, because she's also going for that dragon.
Yeah.
And they're already bonded. And
that's such a good prediction, actually. Yeah, I love that.
Just imagine Jack running around because he's on fire, and it's yeah,
rotisserie chicken. That's what I'm going with.
Gone. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's such a good shout.
So far, the black dragon hasn't shown any interest in the threshing.
Yeah.
At all. So,
it hasn't come here at all. Yeah, but I think it's gonna.
Something needs to happen.
That Violet's here. Yeah, something's gonna pique its interest.
That was it. Right. Okay, so I just remembered one thing that... So, you know that sometimes she, has these thoughts, or, it's like she's speaking to herself, but she says that it's like a little voice. I've convinced myself that that's her dragon. Because she's grown up at Basgaith. All of them the dragon can literally, if they're meant to be, it'll be able to sense her, surely. But they still have to wait for her to be of age or for her to, be available. I don't know.
She's just like pre-bonded.
Yeah.
What was your first prediction again?
The hair change, the colour.
Oh,
change.
yeah. You've got two very contradicting predictions there then.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say rule to myself that because I've ruled out the prediction that I made in the first episode, if that one turns out to be true now, I'm not allowed it. I'm not allowed to say like I was right because I've changed my mind, so I can't go back. So I have a few predictions left.
Go on.
One of them I've already mentioned, which is just that there is way more to Brennan's death than we're being told. But I actually don't just mean to do with the rider that killed himself trying to save him.
Yeah.
I think there's just way more to Brennan's death than we're being told about. It's not even really a proper prediction, but I just think the circumstances around his death are extremely shrouded. It's just a suspicion. I'm not going to grant myself any points for anything. So my third prediction, I think Xaden's cousin is going to die. I have no good reason for this other than I just feel like he's been placed there as a plot device for Xaden's character growth. I don't know how, so again, it's a bit of a vague prediction, but I think it's going to bring Xaden and Violet closer together.
Yeah, I agree, because I feel like he just came out of the blue. All of a sudden, we just found out that Xaden had a cousin that was also there. And we also don't know his surname.
Bit of a Dylan.
Yeah, that's literally what I was thinking.
Then I have one more. Now, this one I'm not confident in at all. I think it literally only occurred to me when I was finishing my notes off. It's like, what if? I had a mad thought that maybe there's some rebellion sympathizers in the military or the government, and one of the sympathizers basically was the person who made the decision to send all the separatist kids in, because it would explain why they made such a colossally stupid move. But I think that this person was like, give tomorrow's generation of Tirish rebellion fighters dragons.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, it was just like a really random throwaway thought.
It makes sense though, because someone must have had the idea to keep these children alive.
We know from little extracts here and there that General Sorrengail, she's not as harsh as people are making her out to be. I don't feel like a lot of that came from her.
So what if, she's the one that had to give the command, but actually she was one of the few that didn't agree? Oh, I like that one.
It does feel like she got overruled somewhere, doesn't it? But yeah, those are my predictions. We'll do chapters 11 to 15 next.
Okay.
I'll read it all tonight. No, I probably won't. I might.
Join us as we read and react to Fourth Wing for the first time. Find out if I loved it, if Jessica hated it, who's hot, who's not. We'll also be doing other fun things like character rankings, fuck, marry, kill, would you rather, and answering your questions. Follow us across social media at don'ttell_the_boys. And finally, please rate our podcast after you decided you like it.